Welcome everyone. You may be familiar with my videos on Hollow Knight Bingo. You know, the ones where I try to complete any 3 lines on a 5x5 bingo board using an extremely cursed route. But today, I'm going to do something different. I'm giving you the chance to create the most cursed route. The following 3 bingo boards will have 3 lines already marked, and for each of them, your task is to figure out how these lines were possible. All 3 boards have some unusual and surprising details about the route, which can be logically deduced just by looking at the goals. Here are some ground rules. Bingo is played using a mod that automatically marks goals. If we do something that satisfies the requirements for a goal, it will be marked. This also works in reverse. If a goal on the board is not marked, that means we did not satisfy the requirements for that goal. Take this board for instance. This is a board that has Isma's Tear marked, but not Crystal Heart or Dung Defender. This means we had to have picked up Isma's Tear without doing the C-acid skips or opening the acid lever to Isma's Grove. And in fact, that's exactly what we did in my first cursed route video. The negative constraints are crucial for solving the puzzle. Secondly, all of these routes are possible in the vanilla latest patch version of the game. Bingo is played with the Quality of Life mod, which re-enables tricks from earlier versions, such as lever skips. Some lever skips allow you to bypass obstacles you otherwise couldn't. You do not have to consider these possibilities. And lastly, all of these routes are possible without Stallball or Shrogo. These are banned in the standard bingo rules, so they're banned here as well. With that out of the way, let's get into the boards. For each one, I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video and think about the solution. You're free to use the wiki if necessary. Or, if you just want to sit back and enjoy the show, that's fine too. Board number 1. Bingo routes generally come in 2 flavors. There's the dive route, in which you fully kill False Knight, then use the city crest to enter city and pick up Desolate Dive. Or you can follow the any % route, where you shade skip into Blue Lake, enter city from the right side, and sell relics to Lem to afford the Lumify Lantern. The point of these routes is to open access to Crystal Peak, either through the dive floor above, or the dark room toll down below. And here lies our problem. Both of these are ruled out as negative constraints. Without Lantern or Dive, there is no way to access Crystal Peak or anything inside it. This is our first big clue, as we now have to examine which goals on the board may be difficult without peak access. Consider this one, kill 4 mimics. There are 3 mimics in Deep Nest which we have no problem reaching, but the other one is in Crystal Peak, which we can't access. However, there's one goal on the board that's even more problematic, kill 2 Soul Warriors. There are 2 Soul Warriors in Sanctum. One of them is on the way to dive, no issues there. But the second one, which guards Shade Soul, is locked behind the Elegant Key. The Elegant Key is sold by Sly, but only after finding his Shopkeeper's Key, which, guess what, is in Crystal Peak. Okay, how else would we kill a Soul Warrior? You might consider Godhome, where you could fight one in a Pantheon or the Hall of Gods. But reaching Godhome requires breaking through dive floors, so that's no good. There is only one other place where Soul Warriors can be found. 2 of them, spawning as enemy waves during the Trial of the Fool, the hardest Colosseum trial in the game. And there is our answer. Knowing that we must do all the trials to complete our board, the rest of our route falls into place. The Colosseum is right next to 2 King's Idols that we can pick up easily. Colo 1 provides one of the 3 Charm Notches we need, and Colo 2 provides our 4th and final Mimic, as well as one of the 3 Pale Ores required for Nail 3. So the rest of our prep work is surprisingly minimal. Collect Howling Wraiths and an extra mask, go to Cliffs for Cyclone Slash and a 3rd King's Idol, go to Basin for our 2nd Pale Ore, and do this Trans Dash to get to Nosk so we can get a 3rd Pale Ore. And with that, all we need to do now is survive Colo 3 with Nail 3, 1 extra mask, and no upgraded spells. Yeah, this seems fine. Luckily for us, we don't need to complete the entire thing. We only need to kill the Soul Warriors. At which point, our lines are complete with a final time of 51:37. That is way faster than I expected. Definitely not complaining about that. I still did the rest of Call of 3, just for fun. Board number 2. If there's anything that you're very likely to do by accident in any bingo board, it's spending a lot of money. Most runs you'll likely buy Lantern in every stag station you come across. Your goals may also demand additional spending, whether on charms, nail upgrades, masks, or vessels. The list goes on. So a goal like spend 3000 Geo being unmarked is very telling, as that means we had to spend strictly less than 3000 Geo throughout the run. What exactly did we buy? We fought No Eyes, so we had to buy Lantern. Then we also bought both Queen's and King's Station, Heavy Blow and Steady Body, and Shaman Stone. This brings our total force spending to 2910 Geo, which is pretty close to 3k. So close, in fact, that it poses a problem for another goal on this board, one where it would really help to spend extra money. Obtain 2 extra masks. There are a total of 16 mask shards in the game, and we need to collect 8. The very first mask shard from Sly is 150 Geo, which is already too much for our budget, so all 4 Sly shards are out. We still need to save Sly to buy Lantern, but if we also saved Retta, we would end up getting this goal, so that means saving Retta and getting her mask shard is not allowed. The same logic prevents us from getting the Brooding Moloch shard, since we need to kill False Knight for Failed Champion. Of course, the shard behind Enraged Guardian requires killing Crystal Guardian. Lastly, without wings, we can't get past the entrance to Fungal Core for the shard in Deep Nest. We've successfully ruled out 8 of the 16 shards in the game, which means we must do the other 8 to finish our board. These are 1 in Crossroads for saving 5 grubs, 1 in Crossroads guarded by Gomes, 1 in Stone Sanctuary behind No Eyes, 1 in the Queen's Station platforming challenge, 1 in the far west side of Waterways, 1 which requires going all the way through Hive, 1 which requires getting, 1500 Essence, and finally, 1 from Flower Quest. Awesome! Well, let's get started. We start with an any % route to get Dream Nail, but instead of selling to Lem, we continue into Sanctum for Dive. We do it in this order to fight Soul Tyrant immediately for his 300 Essence. Our other Essence is 0 for 100, Failed Champion for 300 in a goal, and No Eyes for 200 in a goal. That's a total of 900 Essence, which is enough for Dreamgate. Now we can do the following. Go through Queen's Gardens to open levers for Flower Quest, then make our way through Deep Nest, fighting Galleon for 200 Essence and picking up Tram Pass. Then we can tram to Basin, fight Loskin for 400 Essence, tram again to Hive and get the Hive Mask Shard, and Dreamgate out. We have our 1500 Essence for the Seer Shard, and we end with Flower Quest. Oops. And we end with Flower Quest. Run complete in 1 hour, 6 minutes, 14 seconds. Yeah, sub-hour was not happening with how much there was to do on this board, but I'm happy with how close I got. Board number 3. Once again, our spending is the key. Our forced purchases are Quick Focus and Elegant Key, each for 800, the 3 Fragile Charms, which require an upfront fee of 86 Geo plus a combined 1200 for the charms, and 6 maps, which will cost at least a few hundred. Huh. It doesn't seem like we have the budget for this. How is this possible? With one last trick up our sleeve. If we wear the Defender's Crest, Leg Eater will offer a 20% discount on the Fragile Charms, bringing the price from 1200 to 960. This puts us at a believable estimate of Geo spent. So let's figure out just how much we're spending on maps. The 6 absolute cheapest maps we can buy are Crossroads Cornifer for 30, Deep Nest Cornifer for 38, Greenpath Cornifer for 60, Fungal Cornifer for 75, Cliffs Cornifer for 75, and Resting Grounds from Maselda for 75, totaling 353 Geo spent on maps. Well, is this enough to get us below 3,000? Adding this to our previous purchases, it looks like we have a total balance of, get this, 2,999, missing the critical threshold by exactly 1. What an incredible result. This does pose a bigger problem though. We have absolutely no money to spare for anything else. No stags, no shaman, certainly no lantern, and no notches from Salubra. We can get 2 notches pretty easily, one from the Shroomal Ogres in Fungal, and one near the Archives in Fog Canyon, but the third one is not so simple. We can't get any of the 4 sold by Salubra, since those cost money. If you're desperate enough, you might be thinking about the Colo Notch, but unlocking the first trial costs 100 Geo, so that's no good. That leaves only one option, the Charm Notch reward from defeating Grim, which requires summoning the Grim Troop and upgrading Grimchild twice to unlock the fight, when already one of the longest goals in Bingo is to upgrade Grimchild once. Oh, and did I mention we don't have stags? Well, that's not quite true. We have exactly 2 free stags, Dirtmouth and Resting Grounds. These stags will have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Let's see what we can do. We need to be careful about our early game routing. Since Cornifer's cheapest maps are sold in person, we must make sure to buy his map before doing something that makes him leave. This means buying the Crossroads map before False Knight, buying the Green Path map before Hornet, and buying the Fungal map before Mantis Claw. From here, we can enter City and follow a standard dive route. Well, kind of. Getting out from the dive hard save is deceptively difficult and we can't spend any money, since the storeroom, stag, and elevator are both tolls. Instead, we use the waterways to get out, finding Dung Defender for the Defender's Crest we need for later. Now we can go backwards through Right City, climbing up to the elevator that takes us to Dreamnail, and more importantly, our only other stag station. Entering Crystal Peak, we defeat Crystal Guardian and set our save at the bench, so that after we grab C-Dash, we can warp back to exit through the Dirtmouth elevator. Now we can go to Cliffs to summon the troop and start working on our Grimkin. Resting Grounds is our closest stag to City, so we go from there to Sanctum, get Shadesoul, and continue to Storerooms for the first Grimkin. From Dirtmouth, we can go back to Peak through the lever we opened and get the second Grimkin. Finally, we go through Crossroads into Fog Canyon for the Charm Notch, and continue from there into Green Path for the third Grimkin, which gets us our first Grimchild upgrade. The fourth one is in King's Pass, again a short trip from Dirtmouth. The fifth is underneath Resting Grounds, and from there we can continue through City into Kingdom's Edge, where the last Grimkin resides. One Grim fight later, we pick up the Charm Notch and finish our lines, with 2,999 Geo spent, and a final time of 58.55. Again, very pleasantly surprised that a sub-hour was possible on this one. Thank you all for sticking around. Let me know down in the comments how many boards you solved, as well as if you'd like to see more videos like this. Have a great rest of your day.